Hi and welcome back to the fourth video in the series of making Brick Collider. Hopefully this won't be as long as the previous video, but at this stage I can promise you that. Now that we've built the ball and the paddle objects and have them interacting together, it's time to create the brick objects. However, I noticed that having the equal signs here was actually having an effect on the ball when it hit the side at a certain time, that it basically just slid down the side of the paddle. So basically we'll just delete them to stop this from happening. Let's add some more colours here. Basically blue, gold, silver, aqua, white, black. We'll probably use this throughout the game somewhere anyway. Gold is 201, 137 and 16. Silver 168, 168, 168. Aqua will be 0, 255, 255. White, which is basically all the colours, white equals 255, 255, 255. Black is no colours, so that's going to be 0, 0, 0. Yeah. Other colours can be added too. You can just search online for RGB values for colours, and you can just add them in there as you see fit. Okay, just tidy this up a little bit just to make it look nice and flowing. Right then, let's go make our block class. It's basically the same as we've created in the paddle and the ball classes. We go class block. We need to take in sprite, so Pygame.sprite, capital S for sprite. Then we need to define the initializer, so we go def underscore 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 init self. And then we need to tie it to the superclass, which is the sprite. So we again take block and then self. Then we go dot underscore underscore init underscore underscore open close parentheses. We will also be adding in certain variables too. We want the starting position for the block, x and y, some colours, and the block width and the block height. So they have to be added here. So b underscore x will be the starting x, b underscore y will be the y value for the block. We're going to use a default colour, so b colour equal blue for now, capital B, LUE. So we also want the width and the height, so every time these are created, their default values will be set to these unless we overwrite them when we're creating the class. So B block width is 50 and block height will be 20. Yeah. So that's basically blue 50 wide and 20 high. Every time a block is created, it's going to set those default values. We're going to have to input x's and y's. If not, it won't run properly. So now we're going to go self image. We have to create the surface, so equals pygame.surface with a capital S. Now this is where the W and the H comes in. So the block width and the block height is basically telling you how wide it's going to be and how high the block's going to, the surface of the image is going to be. Yeah, we've got to fill that with the extra colour that we brought in, which is colour. And if we want to overwrite that, we can do that in a while. So we need to get the rectangle now. So basically self rect equals self image dot get rect open close parentheses. Now we also need to set the x's and y for where the blocks start. So self rect dot x equals bx, b underscore x, and then self rect dot y will be b underscore y. Okay. So basically it's going to take in these values from up here and create the block. It also take in the color and create it with the width and the height as defined there earlier as well. Okay, so let's go back up and we just have to create our block now. So we'll create it just after we create the paddle. Block equals block, open and close parentheses. But it needs to take in arguments. It needs to take in the bx and the by value basically, so it can create it. The rest are the defaults. So we'll add in to the creation block here, we say 5 and 55. So that's an x value of 5 and then a y value of 55. We also need to create a block group, so we say bl underscore group equals pygame.sprite.group, just copy and paste it in from above. Now we also need to add the block to a group, so we'll just go block group dot add and then the block. Okay, now it's also needed to be drawn to the screen, so let's go block group dot draw and take in the argument screen. Now save it and let's run it and see how it goes. Oh, yeah, no problem. Here we go. Make sure the colons are colons, not semicolons. Okay, and there we go. There we have our block. Paddle still bouncing the balls off. That's grand. A little bit slow. I've got some stuff running on the machine at the moment. Just hit the side. Okay. Okay, so we only have one block at the moment. We need to create more, so we're going to need to iterate through and create blocks along the x-axis and then down on rows along the y-axis. Okay, so we'll delete this and go up here and then create values for x and y for the block. So px equals 5 and b underscore y will be 55. Right, so after we created the group, we can create the block class, or create the blocks individually then, but we need to iterate through it, so we'll have to use some loops. Add our comments so we know that this next set of code is going to be doing. Right, so we'll loop through it. So for b in range 0 to 4, that's going to be 4 rows along the y-axis. Okay, then we go for c in range 0, 9. That's going to have 9 blocks along the x-axis. Okay, hold on. Now, so we create the blocks now. Block equals block, and we take in the value above is the bx and the b underscore y. It needs to be tabbed across actually. Yep. And then we'll add it to the group. So we go bl underscore group dot add, and we add that freshly created block. So take in block. Now, at the end of each block, we need to bring the x value across by, we say 55, because each block is 50, so we want a little gap. So bx plus equals 55. So the next blocks will start with a b underscore x value of 60. In other words, it'll have a gap of 5 between it and the previous one as well. So after every row of completed, we need to reset b underscore x value back to 5 so that it'll start at 5. We also need to increment the b underscore y value, say by 25, so that leaving another gap of 5 pixels between it and the top, or the block above it. Okay, we don't need to add it because we've already added it into that loop in there. And the draw still there, will draw it anyway. Okay, so save it and let's run it. There we go. And it won't actually do and the ball will just pass through it, as we can see. Bounce off and back down again. You can see the gaps and all sorted there, so that's all well and good. Okay. Okay, so we've taken in some default values into the block class here, like blue and the white, the width and the height values. Let's change a couple of them and see what happens. Okay, so in there we will add gold first. So that's GOLD, capital gold, because it's what we called it at the start. So save it and run it. There we go. There we have our gold blocks, all good. Everything's the same. And let's add different block sizes. Let's change the block sizes. So we have 50 and let's say 40. Okay. And let's change the value of the incremented b underscore y value, so we still have a gap because the block size has actually changed. Right, save it and run. There we go. There's our blocks, all changed, all grand, and off we go. One thing to note though would be if you wanted to change the block height, you're going to have to add in the color and then the block width values as well, because Python won't be able to recognize as the variables to be assigned in the actual block class. Okay, that's about it for this video anyway. And in the next video we'll be doing the ball collide function, which will destroy the ball or the blocks when the ball hits them, and then maybe creating a few levels. Okay, thanks for watching, and I shall talk to you all again soon.